Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. The next few days were unbearable. I tried to convince myself that I had made the right choice, that the excitement I felt with Alex was worth the pain of leaving Daniel behind. But deep down, I knew it was a lie. The apartment felt colder, emptier, and every time my phone buzzed, I flinched, half hoping it was him, half dreading it. Then came the moment that shattered everything. I had been at Alex's apartment, laughing at a joke he barely made, when my phone rang. It was Daniel. My heart leapt, a mix of relief and panic. I wanted to ignore it, wanted to let the past fade quietly, but something inside me compelled me to answer. "Emily," he said, his voice calm, steady, like it had always been. I wanted to hear from you. Are you okay?" The words should have comforted me, but they didn't. They tore open a wound I had tried to hide. "I'm fine," I lied, my voice trembling. "Really? I see," he said quietly. There was a pause, heavy and deliberate. "You walked away from me. I didn't beg. I didn't fight. I just let you go." I swallowed hard, my chest tightening. I wanted to say something, anything, to explain myself, but the truth was unbearable. I had no explanation that could justify abandoning the one man who loved me wholly and without condition. Days passed, and my life with Alex began to unravel faster than I could keep up. The thrill I had chased so eagerly started to feel hollow. He was charming, unpredictable, exciting, but also reckless, irresponsible, and at times cruel. I realized how much I had taken Daniel's patience and care for granted. The realization was slow, like a drip of cold water on my skin, until it became unbearable. And then the news hit me like a lightning strike. Daniel had moved on, not quickly, not recklessly, but in a way that left no space for me to slip back in. He had met someone new, a woman who appreciated his quiet strength, his steady presence. A woman who didn't compare him to thrill-seekers or crave chaos. And Daniel, who had loved me through every silent heartbreak, had found a version of happiness I had destroyed for myself. I tried to reach out, at first with cautious texts, then a call. Each time, he responded politely, distantly, but never with the warmth I remembered. My heart twisted with every word he wrote, every polite refusal. The man I had abandoned, the one who had loved me through the darkest, most ordinary days, was now living a life I could no longer touch. I felt the weight of my choices pressed down harder than ever. My friends' whispers, once just observations, became undeniable truths. I had traded certainty for chaos, love for fleeting excitement, and in doing so, had lost the very foundation of my happiness. One evening, as I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the empty coffee mug Daniel had once brought me, I understood the full depth of my mistake. The thrill of Alex was gone. The excitement I had craved felt shallow and meaningless. And Daniel had been my anchor, the one person who truly loved me without condition. But I had walked away, and now nothing could bring him back. I tried to rebuild, to find solace in my choices, but every attempt fell hollow. The nights were long, filled with memories of Daniel's smile, the warmth of his presence, and the quiet strength that had carried me through years I now realized were precious. I had destroyed that trust, that unwavering love, with my own impatience, my own desire for more. And then the final blow came, a stark reminder of how reality has a way of punishing reckless hearts. Alex, the man I had run to for excitement, revealed the truth I had ignored in my blind pursuit. He had been dishonest from the start, charming me with illusions while hiding secrets that could have shattered me further. The life I had chosen was not only empty, it was dangerous. I had fled safety and love only to stumble into deceit and betrayal. I sat there, the weight of the truth pressing down on me, understanding something painfully clear. I had lost everything that truly mattered. Daniel was gone, unshakable in his calm dignity, and I was left with nothing but the hollow echoes of my own choices. The realization was suffocating, a bitter taste that no thrill could mask. Weeks later, I ran into Daniel at a small cafe. He was with her, laughing softly at something she said. I froze, the world tilting in slow motion. He looked up briefly, noticed me, and for a moment, our eyes met. There was no anger in his gaze, no longing, only a quiet acknowledgement of the past. He was happy. He had moved on, just as life had marched forward, leaving me behind. I wanted to speak, to explain, to apologize, but the words caught in my throat. There was nothing to say that could undo the choice I had made, nothing that could bring back the man who had loved me entirely. I walked past him, my steps heavy, each one a reminder of my own folly. And in that moment, the final truth sank in, sharper than any heartbreak I had known. Love, when given wholly, cannot be reclaimed once abandoned. I had walked away from the one man who had truly loved me and lost everything. I went home that night, my apartment silent, the thrill of past excitement gone. I understood the cost of my impatience, my desire for the ephemeral over the eternal, and though I tried to numb the ache, the lesson would remain with me forever. Some loves are once in a lifetime, and when lost, they leave a void no substitute can ever fill. I didn't walk into marriage expecting perfection. I expected effort, honesty, and the comfort of building something real over time. I'm James. I'm 38. I married Elizabeth 6 years ago, and for a long time, I believed we were solid. Not loud, not flashy, just steady. We met in Manchester through mutual friends. She was sharp, warm, the kind of woman who made people feel seen. I was practical, structured, the planner. She said that balance made her feel safe. The early years felt easy. We worked, saved, hosted dinners, talked about the future like it was a shared destination. When Elizabeth told me she was pregnant, I didn't question anything. I felt proud, terrified too, but proud in the way men get when responsibility suddenly has weight. I worked longer hours. I skipped nights out. I started measuring life in practical units like insurance policies and nursery costs. I thought that was love. But pregnancy changed things. Not all at once. Slowly. Elizabeth grew distant in ways I couldn't quite name. She guarded her phone. She stopped asking about my day. Our conversations became transactional, like roommates coordinating schedules. I told myself it was hormones, stress, fear. Everyone says pregnancy is hard. I believe them. At appointments, she avoided eye contact when the doctor asked questions about timelines. I noticed, but I didn't press. Trust fills in gaps when you don't want answers. One night, months before the birth, I asked her directly if everything was okay. She said yes too quickly. Then she turned it back on me, asked why I was being weird. I apologized. I hated conflict. I still do. If this kind of doubt feels familiar, tap like so this story reaches others who might need it. The baby arrived early. A boy. Healthy. Everyone said he looked calm, observant. They said he had Elizabeth's eyes. I waited for someone to say he looked like me. No one did. That shouldn't have mattered. It did. I signed papers. I held him. I told myself biology was complicated. I loved him the way men love ideas they're committed to protecting. Elizabeth watched me closely, like she was waiting for something to go wrong. When she slept, I stared at the ceiling and counted reasons not to ask questions. Weeks later, a nurse mentioned blood types during a routine check. Casual, offhand. It lodged in my head and wouldn't leave. I Googled. I rechecked. I told myself I was being paranoid. Elizabeth noticed my distance and accused me of pulling away. I didn't deny it. The test wasn't dramatic. No shouting. No confrontation. Just an envelope. A few numbers and a confirmation that rewired my understanding of the last year. The child wasn't mine. There was no ambiguity. No margin. Just fact. I sat at the kitchen table for hours. Elizabeth came home and knew instantly. She didn't ask what was wrong. She asked how I found out. That told me everything. If you were in my place, what would your next move be? Say it in the comments. She cried after that. Not immediately. First she explained. A mistake. A confusing time. Someone from her past. She said she didn't know for sure until recently. She said she was scared. I listened without interrupting. I felt detached, like I was watching a story instead of living one. I asked her one question. Not who, not why, just how long she planned to let me believe. She didn't answer. Silence could be louder than truth. That night, I packed a bag. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I told her I was leaving and that I wouldn't be back. She said I was abandoning a child. I said I was refusing a lie. Before I walked out, I looked at the baby one last time. He deserved honesty, too. Type the word truth in the comments if you believe honesty matters, even when it costs you everything. I drove without music, pressure in my chest easing with every mile. They feel necessary, deeply understood. If this story stirred something heavy, share it with someone who understands what betrayal feels like.